Alrighty, we're back again. Right, so for those who saw the video last time, or the last video that came through, just bear with me a moment. So the last video coming through, what I was actually doing was making a presentation about basically a component that had failed, components that had failed. So, for those who are wondering how that got on, yeah, they understood, and deal done. Okay, also, on an additional note, because, especially the company, if they decide to come back and have a look, and the same with anybody else, because there's actually very few numbers on the likes on the bottom, or visits or views, don't think there aren't too many people watching, because you find that there are a few watching. Some of them don't record their activity. So not only that, some of them on the video itself, I ask it not to be shown. It's irrelevant at the end of the day. But anyway, a month has passed by. It's been a rather colourful one, too. Let's have a look in my Shadow Crown folder on my Flipboard. Parties are seemingly really realigning themselves there. UKIP is rebranding. There's a lot going on about Brexit again. Conservative Party's leader Theresa May, Jean-Claude Juncker up front, seemingly a lot. A chap by the name of Guy Verhofstadt. That's one of the EU negotiators, for those who are not certain. I've got their listing here as well. Yeah, their profiles. And say that. Yes, it's been, to say the least, it's been pretty colourful, really. It has. And without going into too much detail, what we're looking at is there seems to be a bit of there is a bit of a fight going on. You can tell you see it's there. Like, the Remainers are still fighting to remain, and you can see their behaviour and attitude and whatnot poking through in places, also disrupting particular political processes and whatnot, as they vowed to do a good few months back. You can also see the leaders trying to push forward with it all. You can also begin to see and understand that the EU in themselves are beginning to accept this as being a bit of a reality now. But at the same token, you're beginning to also see that they're beginning to see as a bit of a reality. The Remainers are actually fighting to want to keep a hold of it, as in the last ditch attempts. The UK and themselves are now beginning to bolster it up, bolster the efforts much more, with again the opposition, which is usually the Remainers, I've found, usually the Remainers pushing back and causing issues to try and destabilise the actual leadership, to make it fall over, to make the leadership and the government weaker. So basically the European Union then in turn actually feels confident of being able to overturn a decision. So it's amazing, the little tactics that are going on, isn't it? You look at it and you think to yourself, just have done with it. You know too full well the only thing that the UK actually owes is what is due, which is basically anything that has not been paid in the terms of the membership up until that point, because whilst they're talking about the divorce proceedings, and this is the biggest thing, isn't it? It's a divorce. Everybody in one capacity or another seems to think when there's a divorce there that something is owed somewhere, and you think, so well, is there? Well, no, of course not, and especially like this. It's not as if we have any assets to split up or anything, is it? Yeah. At the end of the day, this is quite literally a trade agreement. Yeah, this is two parties agreeing to trade under a particular set of terms. Yeah. So the upshot is, this is why from the beginning I was saying to you that using the term divorce proceeding is not entirely a kind of like an appropriate term to use, especially given the amount of emotional turmoil that's going to be attached to it. Yeah. Therefore, in turn, it is a deliberate means to upset the apple cart, is it not? It's an emotional twist and turn for many things. However, in and amongst what people are saying that there's hidden documents or hidden agendas and so on and so forth, yeah, I agree that there does need to be space for negotiations. Secret studies is the one that they're talking about here. Yeah, I agree there needs to be some space, but once you've sorted that out, you need to stop with the habit of saying, oh well, I forgot to say something afterwards, I just carried on with it. Remember, this one particular process is a public process. Yeah? This is the one that we was talking about in and amongst being elected to get on and do a job for the country and so on and so on and so on and so forth. There are certain things that a country has to get involved with because it is steering their future, and yada 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 yada, as it goes with it. Remember, this is that time. Keeping people involved, whether it's remain or whether it's leave, it doesn't matter. Keeping people involved, keeping people up to date. Yes, a bit of space is required to chat amongst yourselves to be able to work stuff out, but always keep people up to date. Yeah. That being said, I can basically see what the EU negotiators are doing. Now, fair enough, their attitudes, the emotional blackmails, the Brighton, and so on and so forth, the attitude has changed. So credit given where it is due. Yeah. However, constantly pushing, like I've experienced with this on a very small scale, it gets to a point where you think to yourself, you're actually taking the piss. If it is clearly laid out that the fact that European citizens or EU citizens living in this country are allowed to stay and acquire citizenship after the European Union or Lisbon Treaty has been severed, it doesn't need to be any clearer than that. To push further and to look more into the semantics, it depends on what you're actually asking for. It's up to you to tell the UK government what it is you're looking for. You don't assume nothing. No, you're being told now, whether you like it or not. Right? You want more information from or within that actual, shall we say, offering. Be more specific yourself. What is it you're actually looking for? That's what negotiations are about. It's a two-way thing. They offer you something, you say something in return. No, it's not good enough, we need more information, is not an answer. Nor is it part of as appropriate levels of negotiation. You should know this. Alright? Now start talking to each other and start talking with each other properly. this is getting a little bit silly. And he's like talking or watching children. Right, now, that being said, in general terms of speaking, yeah, I can say I'm generally happy with what's going on. Yeah, so we're getting there progressively. There is some form of movement. To consistently keep banging on about we want money, we want to talk about money before we move on. No. Do you know what I should do? You know what I think? I think it should be actually an upsell, or some form of downsell, or even sell on, or negotiation based on prices of what's owed. Right? When you start actually looking at all the detailing, if nothing is actually owed to date, and if it is, and it's just a short amount, specifically given the understanding that the EU owe us something, a couple of billion, I believe that is, right? Best thing for you to do is to negotiate what it is you actually want. Right? Or rather identify on both sides what it is you want to achieve, right? Putting aside, oh, we want to get back together and so on and so on and so forth. That is, well, just par for course. It's natural cause and effect if that was to ever happen, right? Each one needs to decide what's going to happen, right? How do they see things? Mash that out. Get a plan together, right? Then attach your cost. Then your cost comes into it. How much is owed? How much is owed up until that point, and get all that sorted. How to trigger it off, and so on and so on and so forth. Who owes what, why, when, and what for. Da 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 da. There you go. Deal agreed with. Remember, this is not a normal settlement. This is not an actual divorce as per se. This is more of a trade agreement. Right? And the sooner you get your head out your knickers about that, alright, the better and more clearer you'll see how to work this and push it forward. Yeah? Simple. Right, now, enough on that. When it comes down to other stuff, seems to be North Korea have decided to go back to the drawing board, realising that it's not wise, pick and fight, or otherwise they're still not capable of doing so. And by the time they're finished, will more likely end up destroying themselves before they end up harming anybody. That is an unfortunate thing for their citizens. It is a shame. However, if Kim Jong-un insists on that's what's to happen, then let him get on with it. Alright, it's a humanitarian issue, given the fact that he's subjecting his own citizens to a large amount of radiation. Yeah, right, fair enough, it will pour out, given their location, it will pour out into the, obviously it's the northeastern hemispheres of China there. North Korea will still come down Yantai, is that? Like here, Zaiba, Jinan. So there's still going to be quite a lot of fallout going on there. Still affects quite a wideish area. But you know, if that's what he's going to do, what he's going to do. So as to show, it's not going to. Attacking anybody is not going to be something within his repertoire anytime soon. Attacking other countries, again, tactically speaking, is also not a wise option. The upshot is, like I said from the beginning, is that he's just basically trying to say to himself, well, look, we're on the map now, we can do these things, you know. It's like the is that the little kid coming back onto the school ground realises the bully, and his intentions might mean well, they might not. He may be just trying to put the bully back into his place, or thinks he can, or he intends on joining them. Right. That's assuming there is a bully in the playground to begin with. Or is this the makings of one? Fortunately enough, whilst granted size doesn't matter in many spheres of understanding, it's the cause and effect, isn't it? What happens? But as it stands at the moment, it seems to have settled back down again. And it's a good thing, bearing in mind. The controversy is still going on between Russia and America. I say controversy between Russia and America, it's more the components, political components. But there's a good chance that there is nothing that's, for what I can see based on the information, there's a good chance there's nothing's happened between the two leaders. It has all been on sub-levels, shall we call it. With a background talk or chatter of, well, you know, it's for leader and country, and there's a reason I was doing it for you, and so on and so forth. I don't want to. I prefer this person to be another. So I think you know how it works, don't you? When it comes down to that, I think it's one of those kind of like subservient things, you know. It's and with the leaders not knowing 100% based on, shall we say, plausible deniability. All the ones saying that, I could understand that from Putin's side, from Trump's side. I'm a little bit stuck because very competitive individual, very outspoken, very much wants to succeed, and very much has that attitude of the devil may care, you know. Therefore, he will do what he believes is necessary in order to secure a deal that he wants. And anybody steps in his way, yeah, that's rather dangerous, that is. Even in today's day, that is. Although I will say, though, that has calmed down a lot. And I say, well, I've just copied off of other people. I think this is general observation. Either way, I think it's more below the leadership levels. I think there's maybe the ball was started on, shall we say, the west side, and then it just dropped down a couple of levels and then continued. Other people had probably cottoned on, got involved, and then created, and then just basically polarised it then. So whoever else was got involved is always their fault, and whoever, you know, it's their fault. You know, stirring it up at the end of the day. Yeah, I'm thinking so. Two of the more, but bearing in mind, these are just the biggest things that are happening at the moment. I mean, fair enough, we've got the expenses scandal still to actually deal with actually within the Lords. There's the talk, this Lords of the UK, there's still the talk about the resizing, then there's the reshifting and shaping of borders to balance out numbers of MPs per region, even after the media. The film sector, so we've had the music industry, we've now had the film industry, or we're getting the film industry, so it's the entertainment. Now we're in the political realms. This is very much a far-sweeping thing, is it not? But it needs to happen. As soon as we find closure within all of this and wrap it up, as soon as that happens, it may take a couple more years, yeah. But once it's done, at least it is done. it then lays testament of what will happen to other people. And yes, you're right, it does need to be an independent group, somebody who isn't a politician, somebody who isn't politically related, I guess, in that regard, as in from your realms. So I don't want to see some other MP taking over or creating some kind of body, but it definitely needs to have teeth. Claws as well. But at the same token, it's knowing how to use them, it's knowing how to work this out, and it's just a whole host of mess, isn't there? You don't realise it when you start rattling the cage a bit and trying to get, you know, there's something laying in within the chaff of it all. You don't realise how much actually is in there until it starts coming to the surface. Yeah, how corrupt and rotten things have become until you start actually looking. Yeah, we want to go up there. We want to populate other planets, and so on and so on and so forth. And this is what we have. It's not just in the UK as well, is it? We all know this. This is just, it revolves kind of like around the UK. It makes the UK look bad. But in reality, if it's happening here, this is the one biggest question. This is the biggest question for anybody who actually has an interest in any of this. If it's happening here, where else is it happening? Not all of the countries are impervious to it. I can guarantee you that now. Yes, it will all get sorted. Well, it will all come out in the wash, and then from that, then we can start sorting out the repairs, and we can start sorting out what people should and shouldn't be doing, and so on and so on and so forth. So yes, those who are part of the sexual abuse or predatory behaviour, sexual predatory behaviour, and so on and so forth, be aware. Get out now, jump before you're pushed, is probably the best saying that anybody's come up with. Yes. Jump before you're pushed, because if you're pushed, it won't be pleasant. It won't. Now, as far as actually attacking leadership goes, it shows very little character within politicians. And it does. And talking about the divisive behaviour and so on and so forth. We're talking about, where's he gone? I know he's here. Spotted him a moment ago. There he is. Grant Shapps. All you need to know about the man with two names. He kind of does, doesn't he? He looks like the guy out of Batman. The Dark Knight. I want £10 million. Or dollars in their case. A million for the rest of my life. Yeah. Seriously though, if from a political point of view, impartial, seriously, if you want to lead a party or lead the party, then say so. Don't just hide behind it and think that you can do the actual knight in shining armour. Then, you know, the kind of like well, what's that? The Da Vinci Code, isn't it? It's not, is it Angels and Demons, I believe it is. Yeah? Whereas it creates an issue and then hopefully gets identified as a Syria type thing and then gets nominated. No. That's what it seems like. It doesn't work in reality. Yeah? You get figured out. Yeah? Dear. Screenplays, eh? How they impress on people. If you want to lead the party, make it known. Yeah? I'm not conservative, I'm just taking it from an impartial point of view. It'll be the same with any party. Yeah? If that's what you intend on doing, you don't want to say nothing until the time comes. But when the time comes, say so. Instead of going down avenues like this. Yeah? If you're behind the current leadership, then back the current leadership. If you're not, shut up and put up. Right? And get on with it. There's nothing wrong with voicing your opinion, but when you start to cause problems, then in reality, whose side are you actually on? Yeah? That's what this whole political argument side of things is about, isn't it? About choosing sides and so on and so forth. And there's nothing wrong with having an opinion, nothing wrong with voicing that opinion, but when it comes down to divisive or corrupt, disruptive and coercive behaviour such as this, it does beg the question as to, if you're conservative, are you really conservative? Yeah? If you're Labour, are you really Labour? Yeah? Just to take the shine off the Conservative. Green's green, you know? And so on. Throughout the spectrum. There's a lot that can be said. Oh, excuse me. Right. I'm going to call it there. Britain now has a four-party system. North Korea, Donald Trump announces new sanctions. Philip Hammond raises further doubts about May's future as Tory leader. Well, we've already spoken about that, haven't we? Yeah. More so when it comes down to 2019. I think even Theresa May's accepted that one. When 2019 comes, then yeah. Right. There's like a hostage handcuffed to a radiator. Yeah. At the moment, yeah. Liam Fox accuses EU of trying to blackmail UK over Brexit deals. It forms part of what I was saying in the last one about the soft and hard approach. Before there was the bullying, and now it seems to be the divisive tactics, whereby it's just keep sending them away and keep coming back, right, without actually saying anything. Right. I can't do anything about that because at the end, other than state what I've already stated, which is no. Negotiations is a two-way thing. If you want more now, then you have to specify what it is, giving the actual UK the opportunity to say yay or nay. Right? Because I know what the tactic is. I can see what the tactic is. They're trying to get us to break, to bow, to give you what you want. Am I wrong? Nah, doesn't work like that. We've already been flexible enough in the terms of offerings. If you want more, then you need to ask. The financial side of things can come last now. This has gone on for way too long. Finances, financial, any debts or anything like that can be tallied up at the end once a final agreement has been reached. Yeah? That's how your trade agreements work. Yeah, it is. Alright. Irrespective of who believes what and what terms should be used and what shouldn't be used. Right. And amongst all of that, I'm going to leave that one there now. The video's been running for approximately 30 minutes. I've said a lot already. Right, and drawn out a few pauses whilst having a look at some news. So what's going to happen now, I'm going to leave it for a short while. I have got a few things being worked on in the background. Sites now come back online. I may still continue to use YouTube. It saves on space and also prolongs the life of Shadow Crown without having to keep renewing my hosts or finding ones that go and bust or something to that effect. So new kind of background administration and technical specifications and so on and so forth. There's also a few other things that I'm starting to work on now, firing up, and help other people out and that, and put them back on track again. So we'll see how things pan out. Politically speaking, yeah, utilitarian Democrats will gain hosting also. Will get sorted out as well. I've already pulled out the policies. I've also started to look at them. I've started listening more to your news, as you can see there from as you've been listening to me speaking about within Shadow Crown's Flipboard folder. I see a lot of what's going on to develop more policies. I've heard a few more of Shadow Crown's policies beginning to surface and being dealt with, which can only be a good thing. Beyond that, we're all good. Shadow Crown's back online again. Utilitarian Democrats is going to be sorted, and things are progressing steadily. The innovation that's progressing steadily, so things are moving. Some slower than others, but hey, par for course, given on what they are. Otherwise, we're looking up. Everything's looking peachy. No, that's good. Right, I'm going to leave you to it now. Remember, the world is watching. If it's not the world watching, then I'm watching. You've seen so far that I've got more than just teeth. I know how to use them. Yeah, using the expression that's being used for this scandal that's been going on at the moment, sex predatory stuff. You know, I know what I'm talking about. Yeah. And you know, I will push back. I will find ways of resolving the issue. Not only will it be appropriately, but for the better part, or the greater good, shall we call it. Yeah? Just do what is right. Do what is expected of you. Yeah? Get on with it, so we can all move on with all of this without fear of anything cropping back up in the path from the past to bite us back in the backside. Everybody wants to move forward. Yeah? Hence the reason why they're flushing the closets out. So let's crack on with it. Let's get this sorted, shall we? Right. You enjoy the rest of your day. Right. However you may be, young or old, male or female. And I will be back shortly and we'll speak again soon. Right.